Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to all like you, my dear person's truth. And all truth is sincerity, diligently throughout the four corners. I'm the brother Shamar Moth from Jimis, Miami. Alright, coming to y'all, giving another quick lesson through Spirit Power, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. Alright, Lord, will this lesson be quick, edifying, and straight to the point? Okay, the title of this lesson is going to be Comment Board Question. Okay, now the question came 3 weeks ago on a video titled, video that I did titled Esau, you going into slavery, dog. All right, and an individual by the YouTube handle Randolph Ford, asked me a question, okay, which I'll put everything that I speak of on post-production, because right now, I'm walking right now, so, I just be quoting precepts and, basically speaking just like a spiritual rant, so, okay, so bear with me, brothers. So, give me one moment. Alright, Salaki. So, the individual Randolph Ford, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, alright, he asked a question, and where he says, may I ask you a question, sir? Does it apply to white men in Europe too? So I guess, he was, posing a question because, of course, the title and then the premise of the video was, Esau, you going into slavery. All right, where we know who Esau is. Esau, Edom, is a self-proclaimed white man. Okay, so he asked, does that video or does the message intend for white men in Europe as well? All right, so my response to him was, if one's line does not go back to the 12 tribes of Israel, it does not matter what part of the world one may be from, one will go into slavery. And I dropped a few precepts concerning the matter, Psalms 2, where the scriptures say, ask, and I would give thee the heathen for an inheritance. I dropped Daniel 2 and Isaiah 14. All right. And, he came back with a response. Bear with me one moment. So he came back with a response, and he said, sir, thank you for your answer. I knew that I was going into captivity. I only hope that I wasn't in Esau. Which the correct term to say at that moment would have been, I only hope that I wasn't an Edomite, but he says in Esau, the lowest of the lows, the lowest of the lowest. I gave up on the ideal, sir. I am bowing down to you. Now, the first thing that ran through my mind when, after his second response was, not a lot of Edomites would speak in such tone. All right, and plus when you go on his YouTube channel, there's a video, I guess, of him. He doesn't show his face though, but he sounds like a very elderly man, where he's on his knees, and I guess he's basically bowing down or submitting to Jake. So one of the things that came across my mind was, this guy probably not an Edomite, but nonetheless, this message that I'm about to say right now is it needs to be understood, okay? And that message is what we have to come to an understanding of is the Heavenly Father does not see how man sees, man. Okay, when you go to 1 Samuel 16:7, when Samuel was preparing to anoint King David, the Heavenly Father sent the prophet Samuel to Jesse's home, man. Okay, the Heavenly Father did not tell Samuel who was going to be the king or anything. He just sent them to go get the king from Jesse's house. Okay, so Samuel went. Of course, he had a dialogue with Jesse, and you brothers could read the account yourself. You'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so he went to Jesse's home, and he proceeded to call, tell Jesse to call his sons in for the dinner. Okay, and when he seen Jesse's oldest son, high in stature, tall, manly, Samuel's first mindset was, this got to be the king. And the Heavenly Father responded by saying, he doesn't see how man sees. Man sees on the outward appearance. Okay, but the Heavenly Father looketh towards the heart, man. Okay, he looks towards the heart. And we have to take that into consideration when we dealing with, particular questions and things, man. Okay, because not everybody who has pale skin is an Edomite. All right, and not everybody who has dark skin is a Jake, man. Okay, there is a such thing as crossbreeding, if you would say. Okay, where one race mingled with another race, man. Okay, and that was heavy in Europe. Okay, now there's a book called Nature Knows No Color Line. All right, and shout out to the brother Nahalia from Orlando for helping me source some of these pages, because I was going through the book earlier today, and now need some help, and the brother helped me out. So may Yahweh Shem bless that brother's soul and increase that brother for the help. But when you go to page 87, there's a statement where it says Moors in French, German, Dutch, and other European families. All right, and when you go into it, it was basically going into how back then, when the Moors was conquering, all right, a lot of these Edomite people that were in Europe at the time, being that the Moors were the nobility at the moment, and who were the Moors being in power, which were Jake. The Moors were Jake. All right, they were of the bloodline of Israel, man. Okay, so the Edomites in that region wanted to be favorable by the Moors, so they would try any and everything. All right, especially the women would try to do any and everything to get with a Moor man. All right, with a dark-skinned man, with an Israelite man. Okay, and that would result in what? Procreation. Right? Now, what we know from the scriptures is this. Okay, your lineage, all right, is based on your father. Okay, because the man carries the seed. Okay, the sperm is a seed. The woman is basically like like how can you say, a earth. All right, she's the one who receives the seed. She conceives, and the egg fertilizes the seed, or whatever the case may be, and boom, a child. How nature works. For those who understand the biology behind it, understand what I'm trying to say. Okay? So, those more nobles who are popping Edomite women and planting seed, those children, whether they came out dark-skinned or whether they came out fair-skinned, would be what? Would be Israelite children. Okay, and there's a scene in the movie True Romance, which Lord's why I put in post-production as well, where
Could I have one of those Chesterfields now?
Sure.
You got a match? Oh wait, no, don't bother. I got one. You're Sicilian, huh?
Sicilian.
You know, I read a lot, especially about things, about history. I find that shit fascinating. Here's a fact, I don't know whether you know or not. Sicilians were spawned by niggers.
Come again?
No, it's a fact. Yeah. You see, Sicilians have black blood pumping through their hearts. And no, if you don't believe me, you can look it up. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, you see, the Moors conquered Sicily. And the Moors are niggers. See, way back then, Sicilians were like wops from northern Italy. They all had blonde hair and blue eyes. But, well, then the Moors moved in there and, well, they changed the whole country. They did so much fucking with Sicilian women, huh? That they changed the whole bloodline forever. That's why blonde hair and blue eyes became black hair and dark skin. You know, it's absolutely amazing to me to think that to this day, hundreds of years later, that Sicilians still carry that nigger gene. Now this, I'm quoting history. It's written. It's a fact. It's written.
I know this guy.
No. Your ancestors are niggers. Hey. Yeah. And your great grandmother fucked a nigger. Oh, yeah. And she had a half nigger kid. Now, if that's a fact, tell me, am I lying?
as well, where it was some dude, I don't know the character's name, I gotta watch the movie in entirety, but there was the dude about to be smoked, and he basically was saying how, you know, the Moors came in and changed everything in Sicily, which is which is in southern Italy. Okay, and he basically explained how before the Moors came in, the people who resided in southern Italy were blonde hair and blue eyed, were Edomites. But after the Moors came in, you know, and I quote, as he said, they did so much fucking. They changed everything, man. So you went from blonde hair, blue eyed to dark hair and dark skin. Okay, and now now you have a whole bunch of Jake living in Sicily and in other places in Europe as well, because that's just you know the nature of men. Okay, when they go places, they plant seed, man. Okay, they plant seed, and it's been recorded in history, throughout history. It even happened in the in the time of slavery over here in the States, man. All right, the Edomite slave master would take his bed winch, okay, would pop his bed winch, or would pull a woman off from the plantation that he found fair in his eyes. He would pop her, plant seed in her, and she would conceive. Now, depending on how that child had looked, was what the slave master would do with the child. Okay, showing you that Esau is just fucking stupid, man. If the child came out looking like an Edomite, all right, which would be pale skin, whether it be red hair or blonde hair and things like that, the Edomite slave master would keep the child in house and raise him as his child, because that is his child. He's a fucking Edomite, all right. But if the child came out dark skinned, he would throw the child in the field and treat the child as a nigger, all right, because of the skin color, which shows you Esau has no fucking understanding of anything, all right. He threw his own child into hardcore bondage, man, okay, along with the enemy, all right, which would have been Jake, okay. So that's why, it's very important for us to understand that not everybody who looks like an Edomite is an Edomite, and not everybody who looks like a Jake is a Jake, man. And it's very important to know that, because to answer the question that, Randolph Ford asked, man. All right. And that's why the response I gave him was such, okay, because it only goes back to the bloodline. All right, the spirit that's in the soul, the spirit that's in the body of that individual. If that spirit is of an Israelite soul, then guess what? If that Israelite soul is part of the elect, all right, the Lord is going to deliver that Israelite, whether he looks like a Moabite, whether he looks like an Ammonite, which the Moabites are the Chinese, the Ammonites are the Japanese, whether he looks like an Ishmaelite, which are the Arabs, whether he looks like an Elamite, which are the Persians, whether he looks like a Hamite, which are the Africans, whether he looks like an Edomite, which are the so-called white men. All right, if an Israelite soul resides in a body that looks like any of those nations, okay, and is of a righteous, is of the elect, all right, the Lord will deliver that said individual, that said elect individual, man. Okay, that brother, because he is indeed a brother. He just doesn't look like the natural Israelite look for the moment. All that's going to change when we get delivered out of this place. We all going to go back to our natural Israelite look. Okay. And the same goes for Esau, man, and for you other nations, man. You can look like a fucking Jake all you fucking want. You have the most nappiest hair all you fucking want. Shit, you can even sag your pants all the way to the floor trying to play the part of a nigga all you fucking want. If you're a fucking heathen, if the soul in that body is a fucking Edomite or a fucking Moabite or a fucking Ammonite or Elamite or Ishmaelite, if that soul in that dark skin or that Latin skin body is a heathen, that individual's going into slavery. All right, and that goes into Revelation, where it talks about the angel coming down and separating, I believe, the wheat from the chaff. I believe that's in Revelation. If I can find it, those who I posted up in post production. Okay. Nobody really knows, all right, until Yahushua returns. Of course, we do try the spirit by the spirit to see if the spirit be of Israel. And the scriptures tell you in Romans, the 8th chapter, that the spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are children of the Most High. So there are signs to know whether an individual is or is not is or is not an Israelite, man. There's signs. Just like there's signs to know if an individual is an Edomite or not. All right? Some of the signs are how they dress, okay? How they carry themselves, all right? How the type of culture they're into, the type of food they're into, okay? The type of music they listen to or is really fond of. Of course, there are Jakes out there who are fond of different genres of music. Okay, but you could always tell, again, as a sign on who is who. Okay? It's not about the outward appearance, man. Alright, when you go to before I move on, there's in that book Nature Knows the Color Line, there was another page, alright, page 133, where it talks about World War I, man. It tells you the First World War brought considerably mixing principle. Oh shoot, Silaki. Something went in my eye. Alright. It says considerably mixing principally between French Negro soldiers and German women on the Rhine, as was discussed in Volume 1 of Sex and Race. The offspring of these are gradually disappearing into white populations. Why? Because the once dark-skinned Negroes from the French armies that popped the Edomite Germans, that child came out probably fair-skinned, and then over time that Jake, had more children, and the features of their ancestral depletes, man, as generation and generation goes on. Okay, perfect example, Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin's father, all right, is a strong face Zoe, man. And for those who don't know, Zoe is a Haitian. That's what we call Haitians down here in Miami. I myself is a Haitian. When I was in school, they used to call me Zoe. All right, or boat. All right, just throwing some more words out there. But nonetheless, in the Haitian tongue, Blake Griffin's father would be called Figi D, all right, which means he has a strong face, and you could see that Haitian feature in Blake Griffin's father. Blake Griffin's mother, on the other hand, pure Edomite, and you see it all over her face. Now, Blake Griffin came out looking like what you would call an Edomite with curly, like a mixed child, like a curly redhead, but you can still see some Jake features in his face. Now, Blake Griffin's child looks like a complete different story, man. He looks like a complete Edomite, but guess what? Blake Griffin's child is a fucking Haitian, man, because Blake Griffin is a Haitian and Blake Griffin's father is a Haitian. Okay? So that's how it works, man. All right? That's how it works. It's not about the outward appearance. It's about the inward, man. So when you go to the book of John 7:24, the Lord tells us to judge not according to the appearance, man. All right? Because at the end of the day, again, going to the point in 1 Samuel, the Heavenly Father does not see as man sees, man. All right? The Heavenly Father don't care about the outward appearance. All right? It's about the soul. All right? Is this soul an Israelite soul? And if it is an Israelite soul, is it a righteous Israelite soul or a wicked Israelite soul? It don't matter about the body, the outside. All right? Because the Heavenly Father, the one who places us all in this predicament, man. All right? He scattered the nation of Israel. You really think we would continue to look like how we used to back then, being scattered? Or of course, some of us still have that Israelite look about us. All right? But majority of us don't. All right? Ephraim is a cake unturned. It means Ephraim is going to be light-skinned. And now you got a whole bunch of Ephraimites that look like Edomites, man. All right? You got a whole bunch of Simeonites, all right, that look like straight niggas, but they're Simeonites. All right? So, those who I made the point clear. All right, hopefully, you brothers understood what I was trying to say. And if Randolph Ford may have been watching this video, that's the explanation behind the answer that I gave you, sir. Which is, at the end of the day, if the soul of the individual is an Israelite soul, all right, and it's righteous, there's deliverance for that individual. And if that soul is an Edomite soul, no matter what shape, form, or body he's in, he's going to slavery, man. And the heathens as well. There's no hope for none of you fucking heathens, man. All you motherfuckers done put us into slavery and put your hands on us. So there is a payback coming. Alright, every father's going to, put in, make captives who captives we were. Everybody that had a hand in us going into slavery, alright, is going into chains, man. So with that being said, shalom.